Clayton, in Kershaw's last outing, I think we talked about just a little bit more swing and miss in his game. How do you want to see him just carry that over into this one here against the Giants?
I think we're going to need the slider tonight. Certainly heavy right-handed lineup tonight. Some guys are familiar with them, most guys aren't. But I think that if he can command that fastball to both sides of the plate and present that slider as a strike, it should be a good outing for him. Aggressive team, so there should be a lot of balls in play early. But I think that Clayton's in a good spot and look for him to build on his last one.
He's 17 strikeouts away from 3,000, and he was teasing with us that Freddie Freeman is someone who constantly reminds him of that stat. How top of mind are those numbers for him, for you, and just kind of the opportunity now in front of him for him to achieve that?
I think it's top of mind, and I think that's a good thing. That's a credit to him and his career and what he's done, right? I do appreciate the way Freddie's kind of being overt about it and not trying to shy away from it, because it's something that should be anticipated. And so I didn't know it was 17, so we're getting there. So I think that we're going to start to feel that anticipation build, and that's going to be exciting for everyone.
Just considering like injury rates, like how pitchers get used these days, do you feel like there's going to be more pitchers that hit the 3,000 first strikeouts after Clayton?
I don't know. I'm not current with the list of where guys are at, but certainly the strikeout, the way guys are breaking down, and kind of the longevity of the longevity piece, to throw in 200 plus innings a year to be able to strike guys out. That's I don't know the answer. That's a good exercise probably for me to do.
Emmett Sheehan had a big grin on his face, but didn't want to speak out of turn about what the plans would be. Would you like to speak on his behalf?
Well, he's here. He's still on rehab. So he's going to throw a pen, I think, tomorrow. And then if all goes well, there's an opportunity for him to be activated. So we'll see, and we'll keep kicking the can until he throws his pen.
If he does come back to be part of the rotation, what does that mean as far as your plans for Kasperi's way to turn into a six-man rotation situation?
That is a good question. I don't think that would be the case. I think there's still room for both potentially.
Does he seem bigger to you? Just how he's developed in the last year and stronger?
Yeah, he does. He's much more physical than he was, and I think it's part of the rehab process. It's been over a year, and you start to kind of put mass on, and he is very physical right now. Yeah.
Has his stuff held up better than you guys were anticipating coming off of the surgery, especially like coming right off the surgery like he has, just from what the reports you've gotten from how he looked?
It has, and I think that coming off Tommy John, you just really don't know what to expect. But I think that we saw a little bit of it in spring training, and then all the kind of the reports from that point to now have just been really positive every time out. And he's been holding his stuff, and with the physicality we talked about, and it'll be a nice infusion if it works out.
Where do you think, or how much kind of length do you think you can reasonably provide in his next start, just given where he was in his previous rehab start?
I think the next one would be 4 and 60. I think that's kind of 4 and 60, 65, something like that is fair.
Is like Ohtani, like the bullpen session he throws in between, like today, are they still lighter intensity, or do they look kind of more like they do for a starting pitcher who's healthy and making like a between starts bullpen?
Today was a touch and feel bullpen. I don't know what's next for him, but I think it's a guy that's pretty much healthy, ready to go in between starts, something like that.
Do you know what's the next time he's going to face hitters?
I think he'll face hitters. I don't know which day, but he's going to face hitters next week. I just don't know if it's which day it is, if it's Wednesday or Thursday, something like that.
Dave, after what you saw last night in the game, do you feel like the Giants have come in here to kind of see where they are as far as using you guys as a measuring stick?
I think so. I think so. I think that, they've got some young players. Obviously, they got Adonis, who we're familiar with. They've got some young pitchers that we haven't seen much of, and they're playing good baseball. So I think that that's probably fair, and they got the best of us last night.
Webb had only thrown 4 pitches all year long that hit 95. Last night he threw 3. Is that just another example of them being so up for this series?
I think so. I think so. And, Adonis has been struggling. He homers last night. Webb, velocity ticked up. But I think that, with Root tonight, we'll probably see an uptick in his velocity too. So it's kind of commonplace for us.
You guys have faced a lot of good starters the last couple of weeks, like last night, but just overall the numbers against opposing starters hasn't been as good. Is there something you can pinpoint there? Is that just something that happens during the course of a year? Does that speak to just kind of like the approach and some of those specific matchups?
That's a good question. I don't know that answer. I do think that we seem to get going, in the 7th inning later, against some kind of high-level relievers. Look back at the Fried start where I thought we did a really good job with him, but then, there's a lot of starters that we're just not figuring out early. And so whether they're frontline guys or, 3, 4s, and 5s, we just haven't been able to get to them consistently. So I don't know that answer, though.
Is that something that surprises you? It seems like that's something the last couple of years, especially you guys have been good at, is just having kind of good plans of attack against guys and driving up pitch counts and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's different, and we got to get better at that. Certainly, each start you're having to kind of game plan for the starter, because that's who's going to be, for the most part, throwing the most bulk, and for us to not kind of, have better results versus a particular starter is a little, I wouldn't say concerning, but it's just a little mind-boggling given the talent that we have and the preparation that we have, each night. So hopefully it'll balance itself out going forward here.
Is this kind of similar to what you talked about like earlier in the year with like the team identity offensively, or is it more about how these opposing starters are approaching you?
I think that certainly there's, Dylan Cease the other night, I thought did a heck of a ball game. I thought Webb was good last night, but there's other times where I feel that, we're just not kind of in lockstep as a team approach-wise, and maybe giving too many at-bats away, which does, cut into not building up a pitch count. So I think like most things, it's kind of combo. But yeah, I think it's kind of a combination. But at the end of the day, we got to be better beating the starter.
Jack Little.
Yeah, Jack Little is here. He's going to be on taxi. There's a couple decisions we're toiling with right now. So I think we can have him here for a couple of days. So he's going to be around and kind of getting acclimated, but he's not active tonight.
Maybe silly when they're opener in Omaha. I know you're busy here, but is that on your radar at all?
It was on my radar. Talked to Coach Savage a couple days ago. Wished him well. They beat the Racers from Murray State, so little gritty ball club. So yeah, it got a little close at the end. So we're in the winners bracket, so that's a good thing.
So
yeah.
Really on your radar, not just
maybe. Yeah, I heard.
What does it mean to be getting that award for?
What's that?
What does it mean to be getting that award from Okinawa tonight?
Yeah, that's a big award. It's not just the city of Naha, it's the country of Okinawa, and so I think I'm excited. My mom's really excited about it. I get to meet the governor, and I think maybe catch a first pitch. So to be recognized by Okinawa is pretty remarkable, given that was my birthplace and family there, and so it's a huge honor. Thank you. Hi, Jay. I played a song for you tonight. You're welcome. This is for you.
Is this related to when you went home this off season?
It was, yeah.
This is what I
Yeah.